As the House continues to investigate the January 6th insurrection, the House Rules Committee held a hearing today on Peter Navarro and Dan Scavino.
It is considering whether to hold the two former aides to President Trump in contempt of Congress. The January 6th panel voted to hold both men in contempt for failing to comply with its investigation. Like Mr. Trump and other top advisors to the former president, Navarro and Scavino have cited executive privilege as their reason for not cooperating with the panel.
CBS News chief election and campaign correspondent Robert Costa joins us now for more. Bob, you track this stuff day in and day out, but let's remind our viewers who don't do that. Why is Peter Navarro important to the January 6th Select Committee?
Peter Navarro was the White House trade advisor during the Trump administration, but during the final days of the Trump presidency, he was far more than just a trade advisor to then President Trump. He was a confidant of Steve Bannon, then on the outside advising Trump about how to overturn the election. Navarro was a frequent presence on Bannon's podcast and radio program, and he was part of orchestrating what Navarro has called the so-called Green Bay sweep, which is an effort that's similar to the John Eastman memo, that controversial conservative lawyer's memo about how to push the election into the states so alternate electors could send back new Trump electors to Congress.
And Bob, what about Dan Scavino? Why is the committee interested in talking to him?
There's still an incomplete picture about what President Trump was doing during the 7-hour period on January 6th. We have reported at CBS News, in coordination with the Washington Post, that 11 pages of documents from the National Archives that went to the committee under a Supreme Court order lack details about calls Trump made during that 7-hour and 37-minute period that included the most hostile time of the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Dan Scavino was not only Trump's social media director and a top White House aide, but he was also someone who frequently got people on the phone with then President Trump. Based on my reporting, the committee is very interested in hearing from Scavino about the former president's phone practices and specifically who he called on January 5th and 6th, how long those calls lasted, are there any notes, etc.
And if the House Rules Committee, Bob, sends this to the House floor for a full vote, the committee sending it to the full Congress is expected, and then the House votes to hold both men in contempt of Congress, how is their case similar or different to that of former Trump advisor Steve Bannon?
Very similar. Bannon has a trial date already set. The time is of the essence here for the committee. Yes, they want the Department of Justice to act in more aggressive ways across the board, including holding these people in contempt of Congress and having an indictment brought, an actual charge from DOJ. We saw that in the case of Bannon. But DOJ has appeared, at least on the public level, to be focused more now on sedition charges against people who participated in the attack, allegedly, and pursuing those types of cases versus really building up a contempt of Congress batch of cases at this point. But then again, we can't predict about how exactly DOJ will act in terms of these possible likely coming contempt recommendations.
All right, Robert Costa, Bob, thank you.
Thank you.